All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for real people just like you right there. And just like me right here. Another special guest today. I just got through doing one interview with a really good singer, and now I get to talk to another really, really good singer who I discovered, I think, maybe a year and a half ago or so on, here it is. This album here, Landfall is the name of the band. The album is called The Turning Point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all the way from beautiful Brazil, Gui Oliver. How are you, sir?
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me. I'm fine, just looking forward to talk to you. So
Yeah, how's the weather in Brazil? I just have to ask because it's everybody
damn,
always asks.
damn hot here, because
Really?
it's summer here. Yeah,
Yeah.
summer. So
So yeah,
we
the
need to
equator, the earth kind of tilts. You're in the southern part of Brazil. What city or what area are you near in Brazil?
the South Brazil. Now I'm Cascavel. Cascavel,
Okay.
that's like rattlesnake. It's the snake.
Rattlesnakes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and but we don't have rattlesnakes here actually now.
yeah.
And but I lived a long time ago where Landfall and Auras are based in Curitiba. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are many bands in frontiers in Curitiba now.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys seem to drink the same melodic rock style, not all of you, but I mean in the same way that you tend to like really good, well-produced, great singing, harmonies, great melodies, great choruses. And tell us about this band here a little bit. This is the first time I had heard this, believe it or not. It has been out for what, like 12 years. And I didn't hear it when it came out because in the United States, we really don't have that much interest, I hate to say it, in this kind of music like we did back in the 1980s into the early 90s. And everything really changed when the grunge movement came along.
Yeah,
And this kind of music literally just went away. I mean, there were some bands that were still trying to do it, but it was sad because people who enjoyed this music didn't have anything to look forward to. So it was kind of depressing. And
yeah.
then Frontiers comes along and they create this great record label. And I'm not just them. I don't want to, I mean, I've got the shirt and everything, but there are other labels too, right?
Yeah.
But was Auras your first band, or did you have anything prior to that?
Well, Auras, I think was my first real band actually.
Yeah.
Like many musicians know, we had a cover band, and actually the name of my cover band was Eye on You because it was a new solo album, and I think it was a great name.
Neil Sean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but nobody in Brazil could speak this name, But anyway, so we had this cover band, and we started to. I always like to write songs. This was my goal since the beginning, and we decided to write some songs. And well, this album was released in 2010. Actually,
Yeah.
in 2009 we have 4 songs that in the beginning was, we didn't have Facebook or Instagram. There was just MySpace, and started to make songs, and we put the songs there. And someday I got a message from Frontiers, and
Mhm.
they wanted, actually they Serafino phoned me at home, and we spoke like 5 minutes in Italian English and a Brazilian English, but we it was great. And he asked us if we want to make a contract with them. So it was, the rest is
Wow.
history. It was really, it was really fast, something that we were doing the songs and they reach us, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
simple as that, I think. But we had some great songs, and I think they were looking for some bands around the world. So yeah, it was, I think we were the first South American band to sign with them a long
Yeah.
time
I
ago.
mean, I think I told you the story. We were talking like on Facebook or wherever we were chatting, and I put this on. I think I had it. It's on Spotify, so you could get a physical copy and help the band out or help you out. But I'm listening to it and I'm like doing some domestic like cleaning or something, and it's like song after song. I'm saying this is people need to know about this. I was telling friends, have you heard of this band, Auras? And they're like, no. And I'm losing my voice here. So, just sharing it with people, they're like, wow, where has this been? And I'm thinking to myself, it's just sad, like I said at the beginning, that there are melodic rock internet stations, and there are a few things here and there. If I had, $1 billion, I would probably buy a radio station and broadcast. What I would do is play all the music I grew up with, or a lot of it, and then I'd mix it with all of the stuff that's coming out that people aren't hearing, and call it contemporary rock or AOR or something. And because I think the audience for this is still here, it's just nobody's putting it out there, so I was really blown away by this. And then my friend Jeff Scott Soto said to me, hey, you finally got to hear the Brazilian version of Steve Perry. I was like, he's like, dude, where have you been? I said, I don't know. I guess I just didn't hear about it, but Landfall kind of brought me there in a bigger way. And then, again, I missed this when it came out. They put out a lot of music, and I do get the notifications, but then I saw this, and you and my friend Alessandro, who I had on a few days ago, again, another amazing record. Mayank is how you say this, I believe. Mayank. And it's just really solidifies, your ability to kind of sing these songs, and it's new stuff. And all three of these are different. And I would say this is probably the most Journey-like thing, Auras. And this is Journey, but it's like a little bit of like The Storm. You know who those guys are?
Yeah,
like Kevin Chalfant.
There's Kelvin. I love him. Kevin. I love him.
and this is more like, this is a little progressive, and it's a little different, but it's still kind of in that same realm. It's just different, but good different, so you have, and these are just three. You told me, or you sent me, I think, that Auras had you guys did a second album and was like heavier.
Actually, we start writing when we finished this album, but we split, and many things change, like family and everything else. And now we are actually making songs, and we have a lot of songs now. But I need to, and actually now I need to do my part. I was working with Mayank and Landfall, so now I have time to make the new Aura song. But we don't want to rush nothing. We are just doing the way we want. Because the first album was really, we were. I think I have 20 years old, or no, I don't remember. But we have a deadline, and we have to make songs, and it was we're doing songs in one day, recording the other day, so it was really really hard for us. And we wanted to do this now. We are more mature, of course, and we wanted to make it slow and make it right now. So it's different. But Auras, at the time, we were very inspired by Journey, all the members of the band. So we were listening to a lot of Journey, and we actually in the cover band we played a lot of Journey songs. So it was in our blood at the time. Toto and Chicago. We were listening to these bands, and we went in Survivor, of course, Foreigner. I can name a few, many. And so when we put all this what we were listening in this album. Landfall is different because they had a band actually, and I entered the band, so we changed a lot of things. Actually, Landfall was a band called Wild Child, and you can listen to on Spotify also, the band from the guys, but they're more progressive music, hard rock progressive, with a different singer.
Yeah.
So when I entered the band, we changed a lot of things. We're more into melodic rock because I write the songs also. So we change a lot. And actually, I didn't want to sound like I sound in Auras, for example. It's different. I
Yeah.
put more my hard rock influences. From the beginning of the '90s that I loved the bands, and Mayank. I will talk a little faster about these bands. Mayank actually was I was writing songs with Alessandro and
Yeah.
for Frontiers, and I was writing that. So he sent me the songs, and I write the melodies and the lyrics. Yeah,
Yeah.
this one I really love this album,
Yeah. It's
and
good.
and I started writing the songs, and the songs would sound so great, and I was thinking, man, somebody will use these songs, and I'm talking about myself. I was really concerned about it. And then Alessandro just told me that Serafino wanted to make an album with the songs, with me singing, and he invited Rolf to do the guitar. So man, it was really great.
Yeah.
But they're different sounds, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, for fans of melodic rock, these three albums are really good. And I would just say, for fans, again, if you like Journey, you like Steve Perry, I think your voice is in that same area. I think you're definitely more, you're your own person though. You're, like I was talking to Kent Hilly earlier, and
Yeah,
I compare him to maybe like Lou Graham, somebody
yeah,
like that, but he's still his own thing. He can kind of get in that area and hit certain notes. You must have been obviously inspired by Perry and maybe some other people. Who else? I mean, is Steve Perry like one of your favorites?
oh, of course.
Yeah.
But actually, Perry came to my life, when I was invited to be in a band in Rio. He invited me to join the band, a band called
Yeah.
Silent, and I needed to sing some songs for them, and that was, I think, Stone in Love from Journey,
Mhm.
and a song from Bad English, straight from the heart, straight to the heart, and
Yeah. Wow.
so I Bad English is awesome. And then the guys they tell me that, man, you can sing Journey songs. Yeah, it's great, it sounds great. So I start to listen more to Journey. Actually, many years ago, I learned that my father, he had some Journey vinyls and Steve Perry vinyls. So, and I missed
Of
that.
course.
Then I came back, and I started to listen, and but Steve is great. He's probably one of the best singer on earth, and I love
Yeah.
him. And as I for many years, I sang many songs from Journey and Steve Perry. We used to play a lot of songs actually from Street Talk also, Cherry, and many songs and that I love.
Yeah.
So, he became a huge influence in my singing. But before that, you know, because there was a point that when MTV came to Brazil, it was really
Mhm.
important to me. Actually, the turning point of of everything. I love Mr. Big and Extreme. This hard rock bands in the beginning. Danny
Yeah.
Yankee, Tesla, and
Yeah.
this was actually the beginning. And Manny Lynch Mob. These bands I really love. So,
Right.
and actually in the beginning, when my father was a DJ back in the '70s, so I had a lot of music at home, like Kansas and Poco Eagles,
Oh
Alice
yeah.
Cooper, Alma Brothers Band, Badfinger, a lot of bands. And so I was more into that in the beginning, before the '90s, Mr. Big and Extreme. And then AOR came to my life and changed it all. So Steve Perry, and these are the guys that Eric Martin. I love him, and
Yeah.
these are my favorite singers actually.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good list, and it's good. Like if you're, I had older brothers and sisters that got me into some things that people, well, I'm a certain age, but I kind of go back further than that because of all the music that came before, and I got to listen to it at a really young age. and it really influences you, and you hear something, and that becomes kind of like part of your musical identity, your musical DNA. Like, I'd like to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I do hear in all three of these albums, I hear like a straightforward approach to AOR, and some people call it melodic rock or whatever, however you want to term it. I think you're naturally good at that. That's one of the things I recognize right away, listening to your voice and thinking, here's a guy who understands it. Like Kent Hilly, same thing. He understands it. You understand it. Obviously, Serafino understands it, because that's why you're probably working for him now. And he's really excited. Like, he does this assembly thing. Like, he'll say, okay, we could put this guy in another group with Alessandro and make an album, and it's going to be great. And 99% of the time, he's right. I mean, he just has really good instincts. Now, you guys are, you told me, I think you're working on another Landfall, or you're close to finishing the Landfall album.
Actually, the album is finished now. You know, Ale did the master, so it's with Frontiers now. We are making the video for the first single, but I don't know when the album will be out. We don't know yet, but we will make a lyric video. But the album is ready. You know, it's great.
Nice.
I think people will love it. I think we are more mature now. You know, in the beginning we wanted to do, you know, a lot of things, and we want to show what we could do. Now we know exactly what we wanted. So I think the album is the new album will be great. People will love it.
Yeah, and you and in addition to that, you've got new songs that you're working on with Auras, and that again, so this is going to be great for somebody like me listening. I'm going to be so excited hearing this music, and it's something to look forward to in 2022. We haven't had the best couple of years on planet Earth with all of the constraints and different things that you can't do. Are you able to do things in Brazil? How is it down there? Are you able to play concerts? And have you done any recently?
I have to say that in Brazil it's really hard, you know, for this kind of music, actually, because you know, it's not popular as in the US.
Yeah.
But of course, we have the fans that are really, you know, they love the music. And when the Turning Point was out, actually, we were in this pandemic thing, and we couldn't do anything. But now we wanted to have this album actually released here in Brazil, because the first one was not. And we want to make some gigs here, you know, just for the release of the album, and maybe, you know, play the US or around the world, you know. That's what we wanted. All band want to do that. So we are looking forward to do that.
Yeah. So if you know, Neil Sean and his, I think it's Q Prime Management, gives you guys a call. It says, hey, Journey needs an opening band for, I know I think they already have Toto and Billy, I think Billy Idol too, which is kind of weird, but that's a good, people go see that. Yeah, I would go see that. But in the old days, see, in the United States, you know, in the old days, you would have a big headlining band, and then you'd have somebody who is kind of up and coming, like they have a new album, and, you know, they would open up for the other band, kind of warm the audience up for, you know, the main attraction. I miss that because, you know, I think the problem might be, you know, back in the old days, sometimes you'd have an opening band that was way better than the headlining band. And so then the headlining band has to follow that and go, oh, crap. I mean, how do you follow that? Those guys were way better than they should have been. So I don't know. Today they try to brand, and they put 2 or 3. They've got like this stadium tour that they're going to do, I think, with Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, Joan Jett. I mean, that's a big deal, and those are big names. So people just go, okay, that's what I'm going to do. But because I'm such the music fan, you know, it would be great. Landfall opens up for Journey. Landfall opens up for Foreigner. You know, something where people got to hear you and go, huh, do those guys have any albums out? Well, yeah, right here they do. You could have a merch table, give away, sell albums and T-shirts, and I think that would be great for you guys. Get out of Brazil and, see the world. Hey, you could go to Europe. You could hang out with Alessandro and Serafino, and I think you guys would do really well in certain places. I know in Japan, for whatever reason, everybody tells me this music is really popular in Japan. They have the imports, and if you can't find an album, unfortunately, I'll go search, and they have it in Japan for like $50 or something for one CD, but they always have it. And have you ever thought, maybe we should try to do a big tour somewhere? Is that even something you might want to do?
That's what we wanted to do, actually. With Auras, we had a chance to open here in Brazil to Jeff, to Soto,
Yeah.
that when I knew him, he's a great guy. And actually
Yeah.
for Jamison too, Petra is a Christian rock band that I love too. Yeah, it was great. We had these moments here that were great. But with Landfall, we wanted to explore the world, to know people, to meet people, and that's what I think all musicians want to do. So I know that here in Brazil is really hard. People, I don't know, but they don't really understand this kind of music yet. Actually, there are a lot of fans here. Well, Journey played once here in Brazil.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I was there actually, and it was great. But I always talk to the guys about it. So, we had to travel, to spread our music everywhere. And you were talking about Japan, actually. This Aura's new generation in Japan, we have an extra bonus track that is, a great song, but just in Japan.
Just in Japan. And they like people in Japan, they listen to melodic, and they also like that kind of West Coast, like Toto, like the late 70s, that sweet spot there where they're very, very mellow, kind of more, they call it yacht rock here. I don't know if they call it that in Brazil. But they love that stuff, and they reissue these albums. Yeah. I like it too. I'm a guilty pleasure. I definitely enjoy it, and I'll go listen to it and chill out and relax.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Cross, great. These guys, I love it.
Yeah, it's and it's still popular. The radio here, and it sounds like it might be the same problem in Brazil, is that everything is technology. It's just beats and sounds. It's not organic. It doesn't comes from a machine. It doesn't come from a guitar, and drums are all just do. It's not any, and it's sad because, again, I grew up like you did. I listened to all of this great music from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, of course, was the big decade for me, and into the early 90s, like to about 92 or so. I look at that Mr. Big album. You talked about Mr. Big. I think it's called Lean Into It, the one with To Be With You. And that was kind of like the end. That was like the last gasp, and those guys were big that entire summer. But then, they couldn't catch a bus after that. It was just so bad. But I think it would be great. Like, I just talked to Kent, right? Imagine you guys, he's in Giant, and Giant goes out and does a thing. And he said, you never know. I mean, it would be great, but they have to, again, wait till all the health authorities give everybody clearance to do anything. And imagine, I could see Serafino putting together, a nice little tour, Landfall, Giant, whoever else. I mean, there's so many of them. Alessandro, he's got his own band, and he's in Sunstorm and some other things. And yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, that's the way things need to go to keep this alive. But it stinks if you can't go out and play gigs. I mean, are you a lover of the audience and getting out there and performing live?
No, man, I love it. And actually, the great thing about Landfall is that when I entered the band, actually, these guys, they are younger than me, like 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And they are extremely great musicians, They can play
Right.
anything. You know, we used to play before Landfall a lot of Mr. Big things. We had a band called Hard to Love and used to play a lot of Mr. Big and Extreme, you know, these things that are really hard to play live. And they are, you know, they always wanted to do the right thing, you know. So for me, it was great because I can write any song that these guys they will play, you know. So it's a very organic band. So man, I wanted to play live with these guys, you know. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, I think we deliver a great concert. Yeah, for
So
sure.
are you doing anything right now in Brazil, or do they shut that all down? Are you able to play gigs right now?
There are some places that are open here, you know,
Yeah,
but you know, just bars and something like that. I think Kiss will play here in April. I don't
I
know if it
heard
will
that.
happen. I don't know if it will happen or not, but Metallica also, they are sold out gigs here. And man, I don't know what will happen because there are many cases here now, but you know, I don't know what will happen actually.
Yeah, the whole thing is really just. I mean, I've got some strong opinions on this topic, but I'm not going to put them into this video. I just wanted to talk to you about your music
Yeah,
and what's been happening with you. And you've got great music. That's I just wanted to let people hear you. And again, this is the latest project that's out there, but you're going to have a new Landfall record eventually, and you're going to eventually have a new Auras record. And who knows, you know, Serafino might call you and want to put you in another project because that's he does that stuff. And I think you're one of their better vocalists in their stable of musicians on that record label. And I just wanted to talk to you and let you know
No, thank you. I'm ready. You know,
that. You're ready.
I
The whole world is ready. I mean, the whole
yeah,
world is ready to get back to work, right? To get back into
yeah,
stuff. And it's just, it's sad. I don't think it's good for the human spirit, you know, to be sitting around and waiting and waiting and waiting and this, you know, worried and fearful all the time. But I guess, you know, you can write songs, right? And I'm sure
yeah.
that's helped your songwriting. That's
And
what,
no,
yeah.
I spent a lot of time, you know, next year, last year, and this year actually. You know, I will make songs here at this space here. You know, Mayank was recorded here actually, and at my home. You know, so I'm always writing songs. You know, so
Yeah.
for me
Well,
it's great. You know, but actually play live it's great too and wanted to do it, but you know, if we can't now, I can write songs here. So that's what I can do.
right. Well, I appreciate you coming on with me today, and just wanted to give our audience here just a sneak peek into like who you are, all of the different things that you've been a part of. I was, as I say, you know, I was kind of late to the party on some of this. I tend to discover things later because there's no steady promotional um avenue like there used to be. There used to be just this different way where you had record labels that would go out there and they would call the radio stations. And I, because I used to be in radio years ago, so I know how that was. I used to have to talk to different people at the record labels, and they would tell me about, you know, what I needed to play or what I needed to listen to, and if I were going to add the songs to my playlist. I think the music business is so different now, where we all have the freedom to kind of find what we want, but sometimes people just don't hear it. And a lot of people here in the United States, unfortunately, they've been listening to the same songs on the radio for 40 or 50 years. They
Yeah,
just
that's
play the same ones. And these bands had albums with 10, 11 songs on them, and you hear one or two of them. And because they were hits at the time, you know what I mean? But there's all kinds of music that um, they could introduce, and then, like I say, they could mix it in with some of this material that Frontiers and other labels are doing. But I wish you the best in
thank,
2022.
thank you so
And
much. Thank you for having me in your show. You know, I'm really, you know, at your channel, so I'm really happy to talk to you. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
Well, it's my pleasure. And when the new stuff comes out, you let me know, and
Sure.
we'll make sure to have you back to talk about it and promote it. Typically, I'm talking to people when they have something that's about to come out, but I wanted to talk to you because I thought this will be a first for me, and also we introduce the audience and people get to hear the Brazilian version of Steve Perry talking talking about his music. So there you have it.
Thanks so much, David.
Thank you, sir.